A woman who looks like a zombie roaming through the streets of Seattle, a man stalked by a cougar while out on a hike, and police in Poland responding to a possessed woman barricading herself in her attic. These are more terrifying things caught on body cams. Imagine looking out your bedroom window and seeing this. That video hit the internet in May of 2021, was filmed in Seattle, and started going viral immediately. For obvious reasons. Given the global pandemic at the time, the idea of a literal zombie outbreak was a lot less far-fetched. So after this woman was seen stumbling through traffic in broad daylight, limping badly, her hair uneven with parts of it cut or pulled out, and her face and body covered in dark stains, police were called. When they arrived, they approached very slowly, having absolutely no idea what they were dealing with. As soon as they tried to help, she started resisting, shouting that she didn't want to go to the hospital. Officers eventually restrained her and placed her on a stretcher while she continued yelling and struggling. Now, at the time, there was no explanation released. The video spread with no context, which is why people started coming up with their own theories about what was going on here. Later on, posts online claimed that the woman had done her appearance with makeup as part of an anti-vaccine protest. Apparently, she was taken to a hospital and received care, but that's all we really know for sure.
His name's?
Gabby.
I'm Brian. Gabby, Brian? Okay. What's going on? How come you're crying?
I'm sorry, we've just been fighting this morning. Some personal issues.
In August of 2021, police in Utah pulled over a white van after a 911 call reported a domestic incident involving a couple. That couple was 22-year-old Gabby Petito and her fiancé, Brian Laundrie. When officers separated them, Gabby was visibly shaking and crying, struggling to even get her words out. At one point, she tells the officer, "I have really bad OCD. I was just apologizing to him, and I'm sorry I'm so mean," and yada yada. Meanwhile, Brian is calm. He's personable and smiling. He tells police she, quote, gets worked up and claims that he locked her out of the van to calm things down. Officers notice scratches on his face and arms. From the outside, it looks like a messy argument that just got out of hand, but police ultimately treat Gabby as the aggressor and separate them for the night. Here's what makes that footage hard to watch now. A witness had called 911 saying they saw Brian hitting Gabby earlier, something that didn't fully line up with how the situation was being handled. And it was even more distressing when just days after this, Gabby went missing. The couple were on a van life trip across the United States, documenting parts of their journey online. At least that was the plan. Their only video on their YouTube channel is this short travel-style vlog showing the early stage of the trip. They left on July 2nd, 2021, but by August 27th, just over a week after the first video went up, Gabby was nowhere to be found. Brian quickly became the main suspect after he returned to his parents' home without her and refused to say where she was. Investigators also found he'd been using her debit card to withdraw money. An arrest warrant was issued, but after he left his parents' home again on September 13th, he disappeared. On September 19th, Gabby's remains were discovered in Wyoming. The autopsy later confirmed she died from blunt force trauma to the head and strangulation. Weeks later, on October 20th, Brian was found dead after taking his own life, and near his remains, investigators discovered a notebook in which she admitted to ending Gabby's life. Now, this is not the kind of cougar I would want to be stalked by. In October of 2020, a trail runner named Kyle Burgess was running alone in Slate Canyon, Utah, when he accidentally came across mountain lion cubs hidden just off the trail, and where there are cubs, the mother is never far away. Well, sure enough, a few seconds later, she showed up.
No, go away! Go away! No! No!
Man, the power of those lunges, that is terrifying. This standoff lasted over 6 minutes. Burgess slowly backed down the dirt path while the mountain lion followed him step by step, hissing and occasionally lunging forward like you just saw, just enough to force him back. According to wildlife experts though, the cougar was just being defensive. It wasn't trying to stalk him for food. As one expert explained, stalking implies you're hunting something. A real predatory situation you probably wouldn't know. That's pretty scary too. So basically, the cougar was making its presence very known to try and scare the hiker off rather than silently stalking and pouncing on him out of nowhere. Still, a very intense situation.
I'm sorry, sir. I know he's got it on his
A lot of police body cam footage online is just violent encounters, usually ending in someone being filled with holes, but this one actually ends positively, but man, was this a horrific situation. So in August of 2023, police in Louisville, Kentucky responded to a disturbing 911 call after neighbors heard a woman screaming from the second floor of a house. When officers arrived, they quickly realized something was very wrong. The entire first floor of the home had been barricaded shut. Doors were blocked, windows were secured. There was no easy way in. Officers had to use a ladder to climb to a second floor window. They found inside was already being described as one of the most shocking body cam rescues released that year. A woman was in that room crying and shaking with a heavy metal chain locked around her neck, bolted directly to the floor. The officer picked up a hatchet and used it to break the chain free from the floor before emergency crews removed the rest of it from her neck. According to the arrest report, the woman's boyfriend had allegedly attacked her during an argument, cut off parts of her hair, and threatened her before restraining her and locking her in the upstairs room. Police later arrested the 36-year-old man. Really scary to think about what would have happened had neighbors not called the cops that day. In September 2024, Fairfax County Police went to check on a 33-year-old woman, Sydney Wilson, after a doctor asked them to do a welfare check. Officer Peter Liu knocked and tried to talk to her at the door. She opened it briefly, but then shut it again, and he just kept trying to get her to come out and speak with him.
Hi man, I'm Officer Liu.
When she finally opened the door again, she immediately slashed at his face with a blade. Lou backed into the hallway while telling her to stop and drop the weapon, but she kept coming toward him. He kept retreating down the narrow hallway until he had nowhere left to go, and she just kept coming forward. At that point, he was forced to fire, but even then, she didn't go down right away. She managed to slash at him a few more times before she collapsed. Other officers arrived minutes later and tried to give medical aid, but she later died. The officer survived, and the footage is incredibly harrowing. And it's just sad. Clearly, she was not well, but it's scary to see how quickly things escalated here. In Poland on New Year's Eve in 2022, police were called out to a small village home after a young woman named Kamilka locked herself in the attic. When officers arrived, they were told she had barricaded herself inside a tight crawl space and would not come out. Her family said she'd started acting strange beforehand. At some point, there were claims she'd been messing around with a Ouija board. Inside the attic, she refused to cooperate with police. Instead of speaking normally, she made these low, animal-like growling sounds and stayed hidden in the cramped space, ignoring attempts to get her to come down safely. Officers eventually located her in the crawl area and tried to get her down, calm her down, but she continued behaving aggressively and making those same unsettling noises. The footage spread online because of how disturbing the situation looked, especially combined with the backstory people were sharing about what might have triggered this. There were rumors that she'd been possessed by demonic spirits after playing with that Ouija board. It was creepy, no doubt, but it's clearly a mental health crisis. Kamilka was transported to the hospital. As for what happened after that, who knows? But hopefully she's okay. See if you spot something strange in the road in this next clip. In 2021, a Queensland man named Mitch Kuhn posted some unsettling dashcam footage. He was driving along the Hume Highway southwest of Sydney late at night when something appeared on the road ahead that looked like a small child walking alone in the dark. Because he was towing a large trailer, he didn't stop immediately, worried that braking suddenly could cause a crash. Instead, he kept driving and contacted police right away so that they could respond and track the location using the dashcam footage. A search was launched, but the next morning, police confirmed there had been no missing child report. After searching the area, they just didn't find anything. The search was eventually called off. So who or what was this thing in the road? In this POV video from Bangladesh, a driver is heading down a dark highway at night when he spots a fallen tree stretched across the road up ahead. He slows down, starts honking, probably thinking someone nearby might come out and explain what's going on. There's a man standing right in the middle of the road. He starts walking straight toward the car. The driver realizes pretty quickly he's holding what looks like a machete. And that's when suddenly, out of the darkness on both sides of the road, more men appear, all carrying weapons too. The fallen tree suddenly makes sense in the worst way possible. It was placed there as a trap. The driver slams it in reverse and backs up, pulling away before the group can fully close in on him. Got out of there just in the nick of time. And that's been the video. I will catch you, yes, you specifically,